consider to be probably two of the premier members of our nation's media right now, graciously offered to just come out here tonight and lend their support just by their presence. When does that ever happen? Ben Swan, you all know, started out here in Ohio, Cincinnati or Columbus? I don't remember that. Anyway, Ben Swan is here tonight. Where is he? Please stand up and everybody give him a big hand. And then a gentleman is here this evening as well who just every time I turn on the cable Fox Business News every evening, I just get a smile and anticipation of listening to him and his two partners. And God, why do you keep John Bolton coming back? Camille Foster is here this evening, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, I was probably a little remiss earlier. I didn't introduce myself until, I know a lot of you here now through the campaign and through OEA. My name is Tom Mann. I'm the director of events and a few other things depending on the day. What day of the week the Y ends in, I've got a different hat on. I've been involved in the Gary Johnson campaign since he was a Republican, when he was running for president since he was a Republican, and stayed through it through the campaign. Now I'm with OAI. One of the things that's really kept me going and kept me energized, and I'm looking around at this crowd right now. I don't have my glasses on, so you're all there's so many good, hard-working people that have been associated with this organization, with this campaign since day one. And this next person that I'm going to introduce is one of those people. One of the jobs I had with the campaign, some of you may know this, was driving one of the vans. I called it Jack Bolt. This next person also was a driver at one point. And the first time I met her was on a dusty exit on I-80. She was heading east from Salt Lake, heading for somewhere east. I was heading north because I was out of supplies. She had a fresh batch of supplies. We were like the Pony Express. We met at this obscure hotel parking lot off of I-80 somewhere. And as I pulled up and got out of the car, both of us had been driving long hours. As I pulled up, she was there. I think I was there. It doesn't matter. I was there first. As she got out of the car, I went, "Oh, wow, tough drive, huh, Alicia?" And she looks at me, she says, "Shower much?" That was my introduction as well. She's an attorney. Anyhow, Alicia Dearn has been a godsend to this organization. She's doing a bang-up job with this lawsuit, getting it going. Hear a few words from her now. Alicia Dearn.
So, thank you for that lovely introduction, and I wanted to give you a few overview thoughts that I had on this lawsuit before I take some questions. So as they head towards the election, so on non-election years, they engage in education, where they hold some mock debates at universities, but for the most part, they exist to be forums for these debates. As they're heading into the election year for the presidential election, they enter into a contract with the candidate campaigns. This is important because the candidate campaigns disappear after the election. So they have these contracts that say that the CPD will be the sole forum for debates, that the candidates will not go to any other forum, and that they will only debate with each other, that no other candidates besides the major party candidates will be invited to the forum. If somebody else somehow makes it on to the criterion and manages to be a third party candidate like Ross Perot did back in the 90s, the Republicans and the Democrats have agreed to simply not debate. We believe that all of this is coordinated through the Republican National Committee and the Democratic National Committee. Of course, that's not as easy to prove. It's not completely on paper. They also don't report to the FEC, even though we know that they're engaging in political activity, because they are claiming, despite the fact that they're a corporation and creating a venue for these candidates, that they are doing so simply as a venue, an educational event, and that it has nothing to do with fundraising for the candidates. We know that's not true because these debates generate millions of dollars in fundraising for the candidates who are featured. They get free access to major media. The last debates had record Twitter impressions, and they just get all kinds of free publicity, which results in millions of dollars in fundraising. So the CPD and these debates are extremely important for financing these campaigns. So, and the other thing you should know is that the CPD and the Republicans and Democrats have threatened to simply shut down the CPD if we are ever able to crack this nut. Basically, they created the commission. That's why the League of Women Voters objected, because they used to be the forum for the debates before the commission came on. It was created by the two parties. And the plan is, if the commission is ever disrupted, then they will simply shut it down and create another shell corporation. So they know they're freezing us out. The media knows they're freezing us out, and this is going to be a very hard case for us. In order to win this case, we're going to have to find the evidence, and that's going to require a lot of digging. We're going to have to show that they are engaged in conspiracy, and my plan to do that is really to seek extensive electronic discovery of emails and communications, and to seek discovery of the minutes of the board of director meetings and testimony from these directors. That is going to be very hard fought. They're going to do everything they can to sandbag us. We know that, or we believe they are engaging in antitrust violations, that they're engaging in tax violations, that what they're doing is unfair competition, and that they really are engaging in campaign finance and electioneering violations, which, by the way, if any of us did, would be a felony. They have wronged us, they've harmed us, and I think that they restrained free speech, they restrained free elections, and we are completely within our rights and within the libertarian ethos to stand up and say, you can't keep pushing us around, we're allowed to vindicate our rights here.
Hear, hear.
So that's the overview of the case, and I would love to take some questions. I know that a lot of people have some questions about the litigation. All right.
You said the CPD has raised millions of dollars. Where is that money?
Well, because they are not disclosed, they're not donations, they don't have to disclose what they're doing with it. They just have to disclose it at the end of the year. They're not making a profit. And so the way nonprofits typically do this is that they keep money on reserve and then say, well, we saved it, so that's not a profit. It's like in a savings account. But we don't have access to their tax returns, which I will see.
You do under the law. If they're filing a 990, it's public record.
Well, I've looked, and all they show is that they don't have a profit. But what they're doing with the money, yeah, right. We've looked, and we're going to be seeking more extensive discovery. It's going to
much more money do you need to make sure this lawsuit goes forward?
Well, we've already raised, I think, approximately $30,000, which is enough for us to get started.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I'd like to know that, like, provided the lawsuit went in Libertarian favor, how would the money be used in order to make sure that something like this doesn't happen in the future?
Okay, you mean if we win damages?
Yes.
Yes,
Would the
well,
money be reused in order to maybe like push forward like congressional candidates that would change laws in favor to allow all candidates to speak?
yeah, I think that's a great question. Our primary focus is to get an injunction, which would be a court order to prevent them from dissolving and from excluding third-party candidates who could win, theoretically win the Electoral College. Any damages that we get, I don't know that we have a specific plan for that, but we would certainly address that. We want to do something like that with an uncertain.
Yeah, I would suggest filing a complaint or multiple complaints about the Commission for Political Domination with international bodies, United Nations agencies, and groups that send international election monitors, and ask them to send election monitors to the United States to look into this whole process and see what's going on in this country and whether there were really free and fair elections.
I hadn't thought of that. I will look into it. It's an idea. Yeah, I have read recently that, that when it comes to jurisdictions that are free elections, that Pennsylvania ranks low, really low in the world.
I remember in 1996 when Harry Brown was running, you had to be in enough states to win, and you qualified as U.S. citizen and everything, and it was 5% threshold.
Right.
Then, and you finally got included, and not the Gallup poll so much, but in fact not at all. But then how and when did it go to 15%?
I can't answer that question. So what happened is that after Ross Perot made the proposal and he was invited to the stage, it was so disruptive that they raised it. That was basically what happened.
Two questions. Was this same lawsuit brought in the 2012 election, and was it abandoned? And then also, I'm an attorney, and I researched this a few years ago, and I recall coming to the conclusion that the political parties are actually exempt from the antitrust laws.
So it was brought in 2012 in California, and then there was an issue with jurisdiction, and so it wasn't so much abandoned as we agreed to remove it and move it over to DC, and so now we're looking to refile. But we had to raise some money in order for me to do the discovery, and also because I need to wait long enough to get licensed in DC. You also bring up one of the difficulties in our case is that there is some law out there that says that the political parties are exempt. However, the CPD is not a political party. So they're either going to have to say that they're political parties, in which case, we have viability in our tax and FEC claims, or they're going to have to say they're a nonprofit, educating people, and then we'll be able to look at that and say, well, are you doing what you're doing fair, and are you subject to antitrust?
You mentioned Southwest Airlines and Anheuser-Busch responsible for last debate today.
Yes, that's correct.
I'm wondering if a publicity campaign against these advertisers would be effective. And I'm also wondering if you believe in 2016 you'll be able to do discovery or whatever methods you're using, find out who their sponsors might be.
Well, they've had the same sponsors for years, so I think it'll be the same group. I do think that pressure on the sponsors is useful, but the primary funding of the CPD is not through sponsorships. So I think it's good for us to raise the profile of this issue, but I don't know that it will necessarily be effective in changing the CPD's plan.
Alicia, if there's some ambiguity about the origin of some of their revenues, could there be any money laundering question raised?
I've looked at racketeering, but I don't know that we're going to have the evidence to prove that. So, but you never know when the discovery will show up, and if we get more evidence, I can always amend the complaint.
Is there an issue or a way to address the universities that are paying $1 million to apply for this privilege?
Well, you can certainly put pressure on the universities. I know that a lot of people had written letters and tried to contact the deans of the universities that were venues. But I think that you're going to find that they make so much money from their alumni associations that they're somewhat disinterested in our campus.
What's the timeline on this? When do you expect to file?
Hopefully imminently. So now that we've raised the money,